Have you ever dreamed of designing and building your own custom boat? This time on Distant Shores, we start a feasibility study for a custom aluminum cruising boat with KM Yachtbuilders in the Netherlands. We show how this process will help you define specifically the criteria and order of priorities for your new boat before starting to build. Even if you have no intention of building a custom yacht, this process could be valuable when buying a new or new-to-you boat. See the link below for a helpful questionnaire to give you clarity on what features are important to you for a new boat.
We're Cheryl and Paul Shard, hosts of the Distant Shores Sailing Adventure TV series. We're currently cruising aboard our variable draft southerly 480 sailboat in Panama. This is the fourth sailboat we've owned during 31 years of international sailing, and we're about to build our fifth. Join us on the journey.
Gorgeous morning in Panama here. We're very excited today to be doing an online meeting with KM Yachts, and we're going to start in on this feasibility study, part of the project and the process that they do when you're building a new boat. Go over the different criteria that are super important and get started on the design process.
So we're going to take you to the Netherlands. Previously, we met Eeuwe Kooi, owner of KM Yachtbuilders, who took us on a virtual factory tour to see how aluminum boats are made, what features are possible, and to learn some of the pros and cons of building in aluminum. Today, Eeuwe helps us get clear on our wants and wishes for Distant Shores 4. We start with our priorities, or what we think are our priorities. A monohull sailboat under 50 feet in length, that has a pilot house or raised salon that you can steer from, and a variable draft ballasted swing keel for performance and exploring. What are your main criteria for a new boat?
Later we'll go over keel configuration, our need for comfortable office space for working while cruising, number of cabins and types of berths, number of heads and showers, galley position and layout, cockpit features and stern configuration.
There's an index in the description below if you want to jump ahead to follow a particular discussion. Wow, good afternoon, Eeuwe. So great to meet online once again.
Yeah, it's good to talk and see if I can help you with your steps to find your boat, what we like to design and explore with you.
Yeah, well, we're very impressed by the boats that KM Yachtbuilders create. And yet we're looking for something custom. We'd like to make a special version. We've owned 4 boats and sailed over 100,000 miles, cruising over 30 years, and we just like something really special that's all of the things that we've learned and that we'd like for the future.
I think one of the features when we were looking at pilot house boats, we were looking at the idea of having a raised saloon as the thing that's worked so well for us. Being able to see out from the main saloon table, as well as being able to see it when you're at sea. So I think that was the one feature we were really feeling when we tried to draw what we could do in a 48 foot. I guess if you get to 50 or 52 feet, you can probably have a nice pilot house up top and then a saloon down below decks. But we felt on a under 50 foot it seemed to be tough to fit both of those in together.
Yeah, we were initially looking at just a pilot house, but then we realized that would be sort of a saloon, but then we need a second saloon lower down, and that would, you know, compromise the space. So we're back to looking at a deck saloon, a raised saloon that is also a place you could steer from and do watch from. So again, deck saloon pilot house, is there such a thing?
Yes, yeah, I hear what you're saying. So you say we want the area where you can look out is important during parking on anchor or during watch at night sailing. so you need good visibility around, and a downstairs salon is like secondary place, but the most priority place is like the higher place where you can look out and see the sea or see the boats around you and anchor.
Yes, that's a very good summary.
When we were taking a look around your factory tour last time, I was very much admiring the keels that you do that have so much weight low down under the boat, and it looks like they would have really amazing ocean performance, both stability and performance. So I think we're definitely looking at a lifting keel boat.
Yes,
and
we love little waterways and gunk holing and exploring, and yet we love passage making and crossing oceans, and we still have more oceans to explore.
But we really like the idea of increasing the performance what we have on this boat to even higher level. And I think your keel, where you swing all of the ballast down, would yield a boat that would perform just extraordinarily, and I hope we can get over there soon to take one for a test drive.
To come back to that keel, we developed this keel. We did build in the past also centerboards, but we didn't like them because the lack of pointing and the lack of speed upwind, especially against waves, and like other than the Boreal and the Lures and the Koopmans, what have unballasted keels, so it's more a lee board for drifting. We developed this fully ballasted board, and it's for the clients who do not like the lift keel, what we also produce, so the vertical retracting lift keels, what gives also an excellent performance. But if you hit something really hard, it doesn't adapt or it doesn't damp the hit. So yes, we do that. We can build it under almost all the boats. So if you have a deck house or a pilot house or a deck salon, 45 or 58, that doesn't matter. So we have variable keels configuration for all those boats. So it's not that they go together. So it's like little boxes. You can have a pilot house with the lift keel. No, it's like a setup what you can shift back and forth.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, that's possible. Yeah.
A couple of other criteria we had. We work from the boat, and I think more and more people are moving on to their boats, especially during pandemic times. It's a great place to social distance and just feel healthy in the fresh air and so on. So it's important to us that we have 2 workstations. Right now, Paul edits from the navigation station,
Which is great. There's one.
Yeah, and I work at the saloon table, but every time we have a meal, I have to pack things away and then get them out again, or it's just invading that nice space. So if there was a way to work in a second workspace where I could leave up my computer and all of my work materials, that would be great too.
Yeah. So you say the 2 workstation to do your editing, and that's specific not only for you, but I would ask, I like the question, what would be the size of the area what you need, because you don't want to take the salon table as it, because you like to keep your stuff what it is. If you're let's say off duty and you're eating or drinking something at night, leave the stuff where they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's not a big place. We're not talking about a full desk with drawers or anything. We're just talking about a place to have the laptop out and the mouse and a couple of papers and pens, sort of thing.
It would be nice for Paul if he had an area where he could have a big monitor. But I just need a spot where I can leave out my little laptop.
It should be nice if you describe like the size, like for Paul, say for the monitor it needs to be 20-inch or something, or so it has to be that wide and that long. And for you a laptop, you say that's a little smaller, that's like 70 by 80 or something. So that's good, because what we do further down the road, when we know the boat and we determine the size, we start drawing the interior of the general arrangement in the boat, and then it's good that we know what is the real estate what you want for your worktop. It would be nice you give me like the ideal dimension and say a minimum, so we have some flexibility where we can say we didn't make it, we made it a minimum or a maximum, but then we're eating some away from the galley, or then we're taking something from the salon or something. So we have some freedom. We can develop this without being all the time on the Skype or on the Zoom meetings.
Good point. Okay, we'll do that and send them to you. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Perfect.
Thinking our ideal boat would have sleeping for 2 in a master cabin, and then sleeping for 2 extra people as guests in a guest cabin, and 2 heads, so that the master cabin has a head and has to have a separate shower, just for living aboard. Having a separate shower space that doesn't mean wiping down the shower every time you use it. And then the guest cabin could just have an integrated toilet shower without having to have a separate shower, because that is a big space in a boat. So
yeah, I mean, we really like on our current boat that the guests are and the owners are, you know, at different ends of the boat, so we each have our own head by the cabin. Well,
that's more important than being at different ends of the boat, I think.
Having their own heads.
Yeah, I think having a separate head these days seems to be more and more important.
For guests,
yeah.
Sleeping areas, it's a double bed for the master and 2 single probably for the guest. That's probably more flexible than a double as well.
That's a good point, because then they work more as sea berths, because we do need sea berths for, you know, sea berths for
or
2 or 3 extra people.
Or even a large V berth with an inset, so that if you wanted 2 separate berths, you would just put a lee board up between the feet and their heads are separate.
Still, 2 male crew who are coming don't really... 2 male crew will always seem to object to having to share a V berth. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Just seems to be the way.
Yeah.
So 2 heads with the master have the shower and the toilet to separate it, and you have a little sink, and that sink is probably in the toilet or in the shower area. I think in the toilet area, I guess. Huh?
In the toilet area. Yeah. For just plain normal hygiene, and the shower could be a separated room if that was an option. Yeah.
But just a folding door.
Just so long as there's a shower that when you finish the shower you can more or less just wipe it down instead of having to clean the whole area around the sinks and toilets and everything.
And what if you had like 2 toilets with a sink for the guest and the master, and have like a shower what you share? Not because you shower, or do you want as an owner a dedicated shower where the guest may not use? Because then you could combine a room and have optimize it a little bit more, because a shower takes always a little bit more space. So you could share a shower with the guest, but that's just curiosity. Could it be an option? Just thinking of space?
I think probably not. Is that what you're going to say?
I think probably not.
The guests that come to visit probably would hope to have their own shower.
Have their own shower,
and then not worry about any
modesty
issues.
Yeah, that's clear. Yeah.
Besides producing videos, television programs, and seminars about sailing, Paul and I also enjoy introducing followers of distant shores to the sailing lifestyle in beautiful destinations.
Excellent.
When I walk all over you, and your blood is in the water, you go straight through my heart,
We love helping people build their sailing skills so they can safely carry out their own adventures on their own boat someday. So we need comfortable, private accommodation for our guests.
And preferred would even be to have the guest and the master rooms as far as apart. Would not be a problem, would be beneficial, because you don't hear them, you have a little bit more privacy, correct?
That works really well on our current boat.
It does work on this boat, but it's not, again, not essential.
Yeah.
So.
And another question would be good to know what you love of your current boat, and we should integrate in this boat again, because everything is good. You should copy and take with you, and what you say, well, this is what I didn't like, I like to leave away. So that's always good for me, especially as you, because you sailed so many miles and have been so long on board. There are items what you sometimes even don't remember what you like so much about the boat, and it's good for me to know what you still like of your boat, because then we just keep that on board.
This might be another good place to pause the video and write a few points about the features you like on your current boat, a boat you've chartered or sailed on, or have been on board at a boat show. And don't forget you can skip ahead to topics you're most interested in by checking the index below. Well, one thing I love is our galley. It's right by the companionway, so whoever's in the galley can pass food up easily. The ventilation is good. You're still part of the conversation. On previous boats, the galley was a little further forward and down the side. So if I was in the galley, I was not part of the conversation, and the motion, if we were at sea, was not as good as by the companionway, which was a little more central. And I loved that it is out of the traffic flow. So if people come
out of the traffic,
yeah.
In the past, we have done sailing weeks where we've had 4 guests and there was 6 people on the boat, and sometimes the other galleys would feel more busy. Whereas on this boat with 6 people on board, you were still felt you had plenty of room without people walking through the galley, not the traffic flow going through that
When
area.
the galley was down the side of our previous boats, you know, people were always going back and forth through the boat behind me when I'm juggling hot pans of water and things. And this galley it's just off to the side. It's actually a step down. Whoever's in the galley, nobody else is traveling through that space to get anywhere else. And so that has been really nice, and it just feels safer to me.
It's a good galley at sea too. It has the fridge that can be opened on either tack, which was a thing we hadn't had a problem with on previous boats.
Right, and it's a thwart ships. There was a lot of counter space, a lot of storage area.
Generally, this is quite a good galley, one of the high points of the boat for us.
Yeah, and you know, we're not on passage all the time, mostly coastal cruising, so it's really not an issue, except when we're at sea for weeks.
Yeah, so it's ventilation being close to the, and lack of movement because it's near the sort of center of movement of the boat. It doesn't have a lot of, you're not thrown around a lot when you're there. You're safe when you're in there. The storage, a lot of storage is really good.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of the galleys you've built, because from the drawings we've looked at, they look really safe and really good.
And do you have a good an online drawing what you could share with me, so we know the space what you would like to see in a galley, to copy that in a new boat, so we don't find out the wheel again, but just copy what you like and say, well, the T-shape, I would like to have it there, a T-shape, because that helps us, instead of trying to figure it out, just say, well, if you want this on board, then you start with the most priority part of the boat, that's the deck house, the galley inside, and then the rest. What would be nice.
Exactly, that sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds
I can
very
send
good.
that to you directly. There's links that there might already be.
We have some drawings on our website.
Yeah, I think drawings on our website is probably not bad too. So.
What we sometimes do, we copy your old boat into our drawings, and you see your old boat and the new boat, and then you see the difference, or we overlay them, so you can see, you get a better reference of what you have and what you got, because for a lot of people it's very difficult to understand 10 or 5 centimeters more what effect that has, and if you overlay them, it gives a much better idea of the volume or shape or size.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, we'll get those drawings to you.
Yep.
Yeah, so what other features? We really like the scoop at the stern. We do a lot of diving and snorkeling when we're in tropical areas, and we found even at sea it was handy if things got wrapped around the, sargasso weed on the rudder. we could just step down on the scoop with a boat hook and clear the rudders easily without having to get into the water. It also feels safe to us. You know, if someone was to fall overboard, it's easy to get them up on deck, or at least onto the scoop. And we have a ladder that pulls out right from the scoop itself, so if
you don't
somebody
need to fold a transom in order to then deploy a ladder.
If someone,
so you can just hop over or hop right onto the boat.
Yeah, so if someone was alone, they could pull the ladder down and climb back onto the boat. So that felt safe.
The transom on this boat is a little small for the best use, really.
Yeah.
So I think it could be improved, and we've seen some of the ones on your boats that look better than this one.
Really nice. Yeah.
So
you like a good scoop, so it's going to be like a platform where you can stand to do a man overboard recovery, or what you say, picking something out of the dinghy or getting something out of your rudder or something like that. So that's what's the requirement of the stern of the boat.
Right. Yeah, and
so
we
it's
really
going to be a positive stern.
Yes.
Yes.
And perhaps also integrating the life raft storage. We have never had a boat that had an actual place thought out to store life rafts, and it always seems like we've had to add it on the outside, so there's a risk of clipping it when we come into tight places. So an integrated life raft pocket in the stern would probably be ideal, I think.
Okay, yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, and I like the twin wheels, both just for visual ability when sailing, but also when we're loading provisions on. It's nice to be able to walk through the cockpit easily, and we really enjoy entertaining, and it's usually outdoors, so you know, a nice area where we could have, I mean, right now we can have 4 people pretty comfortably.
This is a neat process where you're suggesting what you would really want to have and what you would be nice to have and what's absolutely essential. It's a good idea to sort of help sort of focus in.
That's exactly what we ask clients, or try to find out together what is the priority of your wishes, because you cannot have everything. On the end, a boat still will be, as a house, what you custom build. It's still a compromise where you say this is a must and this is secondary and third place. So that's what I try to find out as well, so I can work better together with you instead of you telling me exactly what you want, because we like to use our brains, how we built the past 80 boats, find out what situation fits the best to you and with you, so it develops a better product, I think, for all of us.
Yeah, great.
Yes,
super.
No, we're really enjoying your questions. It's making us get clear on what we both want.
What I will do, I will also make some notes, or I think it would be good to have a shared document where we like make a shared specification where we note down those important items. So we slowly build the specification of your boat together, where you put in about the different things, and once they close, we can close them, but as long as they're open, it's just a work in process item. And that way we can see together where the initial design process need attention, and prioritize them in a document what we can use together.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Wow, great
sounds
process.
like a very good process that you've developed over so many years of building. I mean, we built 4 boats before, but you built 80, so that's way ahead of us.
Yep.
Yeah, but still, I mean, there are not many people who have had 8 boats, so you're as average person more and more than experienced. So I love to use your experience. In the end, it's going to be your boat, so we do it for you guys and not for us. Yeah,
we appreciate that. Join us for the next video in this series, when Eeuwe takes his notes from this discussion and presents samples of designs that KM Yachtbuilders have produced previously that include features we want or come close to what we want. This will help us visualize our criteria and serve as a foundation for the KM team to create a custom design for Distant Shores 4.
And if you want a copy of a questionnaire to help you get clear on the features you might want on a new boat, see the link in the description below.
Happy sailing!
For the ocean, I would be long gone by now. I guess my love